All right, we are here at the original Hollywood Horror Show in the makeup room. You can see the masks behind us.
Terrifying.
Yeah, and it's time to get the lowdown on Dean and Starr Jones. So being from a small North Carolina town, how did you get into Hollywood movies and doing makeup for them?
Well, it started as a hobby really when I was probably about 6 years old. Our parents took us out of school to go watch a film being made, and they were making a bullet wound in a guy's face, and we were fascinated from that point on. As kids, we would do our best friends' makeup for Halloween. Right. We did first aid demonstrations, and we make actual wounds for scouts. We're both Eagle Scouts, so we did that. So it was just really a hobby, and we got a chance to work on a low-budget film, and that was where the first one started.
So what was your favorite movie to work on and do makeup for?
I think Pirates of the Caribbean, because
it was so incredible.
You know, it's just living the dream. I mean, you're on a pirate ship on the Black Pearl, 20 miles at sea, for 6 months, and then going diving on the weekends.
Lots of rum.
No rum.
Oh man!
You can't dive. You can't be a diver and drink.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a lot because I've worked on so many feature films, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Star Trek movies. I worked on a show years ago called The Abyss with James Cameron down in Gaffney, South Carolina. That was a lot of fun. That was a major film production. If I had to pick one, probably the latest one would probably be Lincoln. I did a couple years ago.
Fun.
It was a Spielberg film, and that was a lot of fun. That's the first time I worked with him.
So who was the best you worked with to learn from?
I'd have to say the director, Sam Mendes from Jarhead.
Oh, really?
Probably Clint Eastwood. I did a film with him years ago. He was a lot of fun.
What was the first big gig that you got?
Well, we did a lot of low-budget horror films, which is why we still do horror films. But probably the biggest one, the first one was really The Abyss. Because I was living in LA at the time, and they needed some makeup artists back in South Carolina. So that was really the first major motion picture.
Yeah, my big break was the first film I did. Phil Smoot was the director, producer, writer, and I worked for Phil many times, and hopefully we'll keep working together.
You make your living on scaring other people. What scares you?
Being in a foreign country and no medical care.
Silence in the dark. Because it's really what you can't see is what scares you. What you don't know is behind the wall or under the stairs. That's what scares you.
So this is your 25th year doing the Hollywood Horror Show.
25 years for something that was supposed to be one time.
Yeah.
Right?
So did you think that it would be this successful?
No, not really, because see, we had done it for other people growing up, church groups and scouts, that kind of thing. And we had some time between movies several years ago, and I said, let's go do our own haunted house. We were just going to throw it together. I think we spent 3 weeks putting it together, and it went really well. And people, you're going to do it next year? So 1 year led to the other. 25 years later, we're still doing it.
What was the attendance in the first year?
I think the attendance was only probably about maybe 900 people.
Wow. What is it now?
Well, sometimes we have that a night, so you know, it gets crazy.
I'd always hoped it to be. I hope it to get more successful. We're growing every year. We grow a little bit, you know, because it's not a cheap show to do.
Right.
We try to give people a theatrical experience. It's not a trail in the woods where you're walking around in the dark in the mud and there's no sound effects, just people in rubber masks jumping out. You don't want that. We try to do something a little bit more, you know.
And you do.
What reaction do you want people to have? What's your goal?
Excuse me, lots of screaming and crying and
crying.
Peeing their pants.
Peeing their pants.
Yeah.
And they brag about it too. That's the oddest thing.
Yeah.
They come out and say, I wet myself. I peed on myself.
T-shirt?
They run out.
I wet
and,
myself at the original Hollywood Horror Show.
Exactly.
We'll make it.
We should make one, yeah, that would be fun.
Changing gears a little bit, talking about Dark Awakening. Whose idea was it?
Well, Dean and I have, as I said, been doing makeup for over 30 years. And we had worked on a lot of shows, and we wanted to move into producing and directing. This is probably our 4th film we've done. And we put together a company that we formulated in North Carolina so that we make movies here so the revenue comes back to North Carolina.
Right. Love that.
And Dark Awakening was the first film that we shot completely in North Carolina. And we went to the Cannes Film Festival, which is the biggest one. We'll be going to AFM soon. We went to Stigas Film Festival a couple weeks ago in Spain. That's a big horror sci-fi festival.
How'd you get the idea for Dark Awakening?
I got the idea here. I think we have 3 or 4 scripts, and they've all kind of germinated here around locations and places I grew up.
What's the movie about? Talk a little bit about the
Dark
premise.
Awakening. Well, it's kind of a horror thriller. It's about an attorney whose mother passes away, and he has to go back to his hometown, which he hasn't been in several years, to settle the estate and sell the house. And when he gets back, they start to have some issues in the house. And as the show goes on, you determine that the attorney had something to do with the ghosts that are there.
So and everybody has to watch it to get the rest of it.
You have to watch it, but it's worth watching. It's got a good jolt to it.
We'll probably hopefully have a sequel, but we'll see how it does. It looks like it may get a theatrical release.
That's exciting.
We're working on a deal right now, so we'll find out sooner or later.
What was the hardest part from going from makeup to actually directing and producing your own film?
It wasn't really hard for me because I spent the last 27 years doing makeup and then directing second unit on low budget movies, and then watching everybody else do it wrong, and then watch all the great guys do it right. So I learned from being on set. That's a lot of set time.
Yes.
20, 30 years is a lot of set time. I spent a lot of time. I got over 100 movies and 200 television episodes.
When you're producing, you're handling everything. You know, in the makeup department, just handling the makeup and the hair on the actor. When you're producing, you're handling every department and everybody.
Much more challenging.
Plus the money. And it could be, you got 100 times the headaches, but it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
It's doing very well.
It was awesome.
And thank you very much. Not without your help, but it was awesome because of you. You were brilliant, by the way.
Oh, thank
But,
you. The camera, did you get that?
What's next for you guys?
Well, we're planning on doing another project right after the show's over.
Okay.
We have a couple of scripts we want to do. We haven't really chosen which one we want to start, but we hope to go into that after the horror show's over.
Hope to keep making movies here and hope to keep hiring people here and
I would
doing our
appreciate
thing
that.
here because this is where I'd rather be.